What if the monster you killed was never truly dead? Sumala 2024 is an Indonesian horror film directed by Rizal Mantovani, inspired by a chilling urban legend from Semarang. With an IMDb rating of 6.2 stars out of 10, this film delivers spine-tingling terror rooted in folklore. Before we dive into the recap, make sure to subscribe for more horror breakdowns. Now let's uncover the nightmare that is Sumala. The film opens in 1976 at Juragung Market in Semarang, where a group of kids set out to play. Abdi's father reminds him to be home before sunset. After playing for a while, the kids decide to go home, but Abdi and his friend Tris keep playing. Tris kicks the ball into the field and they go looking for it as night falls. Suddenly, they hear a girl calling them and see her holding their ball. When the girl leaves, Tris runs after her to get his ball back. Abdi runs after Tris and sees the girl killing him. Scared, he runs home and tells his father. Abdi and the villagers rush to the spot where Tris was killed, but they only find blood. Soon, they discover Tris's body near the river. In the next scene, Tris's father accuses Abdi of pushing Tris off the cliff, but Abdi insists that a girl killed Tris by smashing his head. Soon, a man named Sabdo speaks up, saying he believes Abdi. He then tells the villagers that Sumala is still around, which confuses them. Sabdo explains that Sumala is the child of a devil, and her story began 29 years ago. In the next scene, the story shifts to 1947. A man named Sojiman is being pressured by his uncle to transfer his property to him because Sojiman has been married for years but has no children. Later, Sojiman asks his wife, Sulastri, where she went early in the morning. She tells him she went to get a herbal drink to help her get pregnant. Sojiman tells her to find another way, but Lastri insists she needs more time. She also asks why he won't let her talk to his uncle. This makes Sojiman angry, and he tells her that his greedy uncle wants his property because he has no heir. He warns her that if she doesn't give him a child within a year, he will marry another woman. Later, Lastri overhears two men talking about a woman named Tukina, who can help women get pregnant. In the next scene, Lastri visits Tukina, who reveals that she uses black magic. She offers to perform a ritual to bond Lastri with the devil. At first, she is scared, but because of her situation, she agrees. Tukina tells her that she will have twins. One will be beautiful and kind, born from the human race, while the other will be ugly and wicked, belonging to the devil's race. After they are born, she and her husband must care for both children until they turn 10. Then, the devil will come to take the wicked child back. However, if they fail to take good care of both twins, their family will suffer, and things will get worse with each passing year. With no other choice, she agrees, and the ritual begins. Tukina prepares a special drink for her, made during the ritual. As soon as Lastri drinks it, she starts acting as if she is possessed by a devil. Tukina then places her hands on her belly and declares that she now belongs to the devil. She presses on Lastri's stomach, and suddenly she returns to normal. Tukina then tells her that she will become pregnant in 2 months. After 2 months, she and her husband find out that she is pregnant with twins. Sojiman is amazed and tells her that Tukina must be very powerful. She gave Lastri just one massage, and now she is expecting. He then suggests naming the twin girls Kumala and Sumala. She stays silent and does not tell him about the ugly child from the devil's race. During childbirth, the first baby is born but isn't breathing. Soon after, the second baby is born, but Sojiman notices it is deformed. Without hesitation, he kills the baby brutally. She stays silent and doesn't stop him. Moments later, the first baby suddenly starts breathing and cries. The story moves to 1950, 3 years later. Sojiman is teaching Kumala to walk while his guests talk about how she still can't walk or talk. They even gossip about Sojiman's past, saying that he was also a crippled child who couldn't walk until Mrs. Darmi cured him. But now, even Mrs. Darmi couldn't help Kumala. The story moves to 1952 when Kumala is 5 years old. She doesn't act like a normal child and never listens to her mother. When she throws tantrums, Sojiman ties her with a rope and leaves her in a shed. Lastri stays silent and doesn't question her husband. The story moves to 1955 when Kumala is 7 years old. While at the market, a group of boys sees her and calls her crazy. One boy pretends to offer her a fruit, but when she gets closer, he smashes it on her face and throws stones at her. Sojiman watches but does nothing to stop them. Later, he takes Kumala back to the shed, furious. He yells at her for leaving the house and embarrassing him in public. He then orders his servant Sukri to bring his whip. Another servant, Aunt Sum, and Lastri beg him to forgive Kumala, but he ignores them and beats Kumala. Later, Aunt Sum cleans Kumala's wounds and cries for her. She gifts Kumala a doll for her 8th birthday, which is the next day. That night, Kumala hears someone calling her. A deformed girl who tells her that they are twin sisters, leaving Kumala confused. Sumala angrily says that their parents killed her just because she was ugly. She tells Kumala not to be afraid, assuring her that she won't hurt her. She also says that sisters should protect each other. The two embrace each other. The next night, while Kumala is playing the piano, Sojiman gets annoyed by the noise and slaps her. Angry, Kumala goes to his study. When he asks what she wants, her crippled body suddenly becomes normal. She runs toward him and stabs his hand with a pen. Hearing the commotion, Lastri rushes in. Seeing Sojiman's injured hand, she pulls Kumala aside and asks why she did it. The next day, Sojiman ties Kumala to a wooden rod in the field. He warns her that if she ever talks back to him again, he will punish her like this every day. Desperate, Kumala calls for her mother's help, but Lastri coldly tells her to stay quiet. This makes Kumala even angrier. That night during dinner, Kumala climbs onto the dining table and urinates on it. Furious, Sojiman calls Sukri to bring a rope. When Sukri tries to take Kumala down, she suddenly attacks him. Lastri steps in to stop her but is shocked to see a deformed girl controlling Kumala. Kumala then runs outside. Lastri and Aunt Sum search for her and eventually find her eating a raw chicken. The next day, Aunt Sum asks Kumala why she behaved that way last night. Kumala replies, "It wasn't me, it was Sumala." Hearing this, Lastri enters the room and asks Aunt Sum whose name Kumala just said. When Aunt Sum replies, "Sumala," Lastri looks terrified and quickly runs out of the room. Later, Aunt Sum sees Lastri leaving and asks Sukri where she is going. Sukri says she is going to the market but insists on going alone. Aunt Sum then asks her son, Sabdo, to watch over Kumala while she follows Lastri. As Aunt Sum follows her, she sees Lastri asking a man if he can take her to Tukina. The man tells her that Tukina passed away last month, shocking Lastri. Aunt Sum then approaches her and asks what's wrong. Lastri, overwhelmed, admits that she made a terrible mistake. When Aunt Sum asks what mistake she means, Lastri confesses that she made a deal with the devil. The scene shifts to a year later in 1956. Sukri drags Kumala into the shed, ties her up, and ignores her pleas to let her go. He warns her to stay quiet or he will slit her throat, then locks the shed. Meanwhile, Aunt Sum begs Sojiman not to keep locking Kumala in the shed every night, but he refuses. He reminds Aunt Sum that Kumala stabbed him and attacked others, saying she becomes more like an animal every night. He warns Aunt Sum not to tell him what to do and walks away. After he leaves, Aunt Sum stands by the shed door, calling out to Kumala. She tells her not to be sad and reassures her that she loves her. Overcome with emotion, Aunt Sum breaks down in tears. Later, a group of village boys invites Kumala to play, but they soon start mocking her for being crippled and smear mud on her face. Aunt Sum sees what's happening and chases the boys away, but before they run off, one of them throws a ball at Kumala. She then looks at her parents, who simply stand there, watching without saying a word. Seeing their cold reaction, her anger grows even stronger. That night, Kumala escapes from the shed and grabs a dagger. Meanwhile, a village boy named Supri is drawing water from the well when he hears someone calling his name. Curious, he looks around and sees someone. Panicking, he tries to run, but Kumala catches up to him and stabs him, killing him. Later, Kumala also kills Kario and Sukro. For 3 days, the villagers search for the missing boys but find no trace of them. Worried, they report the disappearances to the village chief. He tells them they will work with neighboring villages to expand the search. He also warns everyone to keep their children indoors at night. Later, Jono and his friends see Kumala holding their ball. She places it on the ground and walks away. Curious, they step forward and ask what she's doing, then roll the ball back to her, laughing because she can't kick it. Suddenly, Kumala throws the ball at Jono and walks away. The boys then notice a dagger in her hand. Jono approaches her, but she attacks him. One boy is killed immediately, and when 2 others try to restrain her, she overpowers them and kills them all. The next day, the villagers find Kario and Sukro's bodies, along with Kumala's doll nearby. Later, Aunt Sum goes to draw water from the well and notices blood in it. She calls a man to check, and they soon discover Supri's body inside. Meanwhile, Sukri takes Sojiman to the field where they find the remaining boys' bodies. Their heads have been cut off and placed on wooden sticks. Soon, the villagers arrive at Sojimon's house, accusing him of killing their children. He denies it and demands proof. A man steps forward holding Kumala's doll, which was found near his son's body. He says that if Sojimon didn't do it, then Kumala must have. Sojimon angrily refuses to believe it and tells everyone to go home, promising to discuss the matter with the village chief. Sojimon and Lastri visit the shed to make sure Kumala has no way to escape at night. However, they discover a hole in the shed, shocking them. Sojimon insists that Kumala could never have done such a thing, but Lastri reveals that it was Sumala who killed the children. She explains that Kumala mentioned her name, and she herself saw Sumala, who looks just like Kumala but isn't crippled, always standing behind Kumala. When Sojimon asks why she never told him about Sumala, Lastri accuses him of causing all of this. She says that if he had raised Sumala instead of killing her, none of this would have happened. Later, Sojimon asks Kumala if Sumala was the one who killed the boys. Kumala hesitates, but Sojimon promises he won't be angry. Finally, Kumala admits it was Sumala. She says she tried to stop her, but Sumala wanted to kill everyone who was mean to her. Shocked, Sojimon calls Sukri to tie Kumala to prevent her from causing more harm. Later, Kumala tells Aunt Sum that tomorrow is her 10th birthday. Aunt Sum asks what she wants, but Kumala instead begs her to leave the house immediately. Aunt Sum refuses, saying she needs to stay and take care of Kumala. However, Kumala insists, saying she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. She thanks Aunt Sum for always being kind to her. Soon, Aunt Sum quietly leaves the house. When her son, Sabdo, sees her packing, he asks where she is going. Aunt Sum tells him they must leave immediately and promises to explain everything later. Later, Sojimon visits Mr. Kusno for help. Kusno reveals the truth. Lastri made a deal with the devil to get pregnant. She gave birth to twins. One was a beautiful human child, while the other was an ugly girl, the devil's child. They were supposed to raise both children until they turned 10, after which the devil would take back the ugly child, and the family would live in peace. But Sojimon killed the devil's child, which made the devil angry. When Sojimon asks what he should do, Kusno reveals that at midnight, when Kumala turns 10, she will be fully possessed by Sumala. Kusno gives Sojimon a special knife to weaken Sumala and bring Kumala to him so he can perform a ritual to separate them. However, if it's too late, Kusno tells Sojimon that he must stab Kumala in the heart. Later, Sukri hears someone calling him and finds Kumala pretending to cry. When he gets closer, she tries to strangle him. He manages to run toward the house, but she chases him and kills him. Later, Lastri hears piano music and sees Kumala. When she calls her, Kumala replies, "Who is Kumala?" and moves toward Lastri with a knife. Lastri sees in the mirror that Sumala is controlling Kumala. She runs to her room and locks the door, but Sumala breaks it down and attacks her. Lastri grabs the knife, wounding her hands, but Sumala stabs her leg, asking if it hurts, just like it hurt when she was killed. Lastri pleads, saying she wanted to raise Sumala, but it was Sojimon who killed her, not her. Sumala then asks why she treated Kumala so badly. Lastri insists that everything she did was to protect her, but Sumala says she only protected herself. Realizing she won't survive, Lastri asks to speak to Kumala one last time. Sumala lets Kumala take control, and Lastri apologizes for not being a good mother. Kumala forgives her, but before long, Sumala takes over again and kills Lastri. Sojimon arrives and finds Lastri's lifeless body. He breaks down in tears, blaming himself for everything. At midnight, Sojimon sees Kumala and Sumala standing in the room. Kumala begs him for help, but Sumala asks if he has forgotten about her. Terrified, Sojimon grabs a weapon, making Sumala furious. She then fully merges with Kumala. Frightened, Sojimon runs, but falls down the stairs. He quickly gets up and flees, reaching the village. He tells the chief that his wife, Lastri, is dead. The villagers rush to his house and find Sukri and Lastri's lifeless bodies. When the chief asks who did this, Sojimon mutters, "Kumala." The chief asks if Kumala is responsible, but Sojimon says no and insists they need to find her. However, the villagers believe Kumala is behind their children's deaths and searching for her in the fields. Meanwhile, Sojimon takes his weapon and goes after Sumala. He finds her, but she suddenly disappears, then attacks him from behind, trying to stab him. Sojimon dodges, making her roll down, then hits her head with a lamp, knocking her unconscious. As he prepares to stab her, he hesitates, realizing she is still his daughter. Instead, he packs her in a bag to take her to Kusno, apologizing to Kumala for everything he did to her. But Sumala taunts him, calling him crippled and reminding him how he once suffered being crippled. She tells him that if he hated how his parents treated him, he should not have treated Kumala the same way. She says that just as he once longed for his parents' love, Kumala longed for his love too. Overcome with guilt, Soijiman cries out, but suddenly he realizes Sumala is no longer in the bag. He gets up to find her, but she attacks him and stabs his leg. As she moves to strike again, Soijiman knocks her out and, believing there is no other way, he then stabs her in the heart with Kusno's weapon, thinking Sumala is finally dead. Believing Sumala is dead, Soijiman lets his guard down, but suddenly she rises again and laughs, revealing that since she possessed Kumala's body, her heart is on the other side. Before Soijiman can react, she attacks and brutally kills him. In the morning, the villagers find Sojiman's body hanging from a pole in the fields and also discover Kusno dead. In the present day, Sabdo, Aunt Sum's son, explains that once Kumala was possessed by Sumala, no one could stop her. Since then, she has never been seen again. That's why he insists that everyone must return home before sunset, because Sumala still haunts the night. Triss's father, refusing to believe, steps out at night. He insists that Abdi was the one who killed his son, but just then he sees Sumala devouring a person. The movie ends. That's the chilling story of Sumala. But the chilling part is, people believe that Sumala is still living among the forests in Semarang Regency. To this day, children are advised to stay at home after sunset. What do you think? Is Sumala just a story, or could she still be out there? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling horror recaps. Until next time, stay safe. And don't wander off after dark. You never know what might be waiting.